Hello and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News on this Monday, January 12th. I'm Grant Olson. Here's some of the stories we have coming up for you tonight. The 18-year-old driver who led police on a chase in a stolen vehicle through East Wenatchee was sentenced last week to 17 months in prison. The Washington Department of Transportation began work on Chumstick Highway today with one-lane traffic expected through Wednesday. Get ready for quiet, unseasonably warm weather ahead. Your full local weather forecast is coming up. A federal judge has overturned the $5 million award to an East Wenatchee man who said he was the victim of on-the-job discrimination by the East Wenatchee Water District. Brian Niffin worked for the Water Service for 27 years until he left in 2021, alleging that he'd suffered disability discrimination after suffering 2 back injuries from turning heavy valves on the job. Niffin claimed the district failed to accommodate his disability and fired him to protect its insurance rather than make reasonable changes to his job duties. A federal jury in Spokane found in his favor and awarded him $5 million in July. But last month, Judge Thomas O. Rice agreed with the Water District's argument that the verdict was a result of passion and prejudice and was not supported by the facts of the case. Niffin has already asked the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals to undo Rice's ruling. The 18-year-old driver who led police on a chase in a stolen vehicle through East Wenatchee was sentenced last week to 17 months in prison. Alex Paul Jorgensen of Wenatchee stole a Jeep Cherokee last September that was parked with the key still in it from the 500 block of Orondo Avenue. When East Wenatchee police spotted Jorgensen driving the stolen Jeep near Garden Plaza the following day, intentionally crashed into one occupied police car while trying to flee and had to be stopped with a pit maneuver in the 300 block of South Kentucky Avenue. In Douglas County Court on Thursday, Judge Brian Huber sentenced Jorgensen for second-degree assault against an officer, reckless driving, eluding police, and possession of a stolen vehicle. He still faces charges in Chelan County Court next week over the theft of the vehicle itself, as well as an unrelated first-degree robbery case. About 50 people gathered Friday evening at Memorial Park in Wenatchee to hold a Candlelight vigil honoring 2 people killed during encounters with federal immigration enforcement. Organizers said the gathering honored 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good, who was shot and killed by a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent in Minneapolis, Minnesota on Wednesday, and 38-year-old Silvero Villegas Gonzalez, who was killed during his detention in Chicago, Illinois last September. Organizers said enforcement actions have left families and communities fearful, and they expect demonstrations to continue growing in response to the Trump administration's policies on immigration. As state legislators return to Olympia for the new lawmaking session, one Eastern Washington representative is asking for fewer rules on controlling wolf packs. Republican Hunter Abel introduced a House bill that would monitor the health of local deer and elk populations and require the Department of Fish and Wildlife to begin lethal or non-lethal removal of nearby wolves if the herds drop to 25% below their 10-year average. The rule would only apply in the eastern third of the state where wolves are federally protected. Abel says the move would help preserve local deer and elk herds, which can be crucial to local economies in rural Washington. When we come back, the Chelan County Sheriff's Office is giving the community advance notice of planned active shooting training exercises in the Leavenworth area this month. A federal judge in Seattle has blocked the Trump administration from enforcing an executive order that would require all ballots to be received by Election Day and proof of citizenship to vote. And you never know when you might need a fire hose, but it pays to be prepared. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
It's time to begin the search for the 2026 Apple Blossom Royal Court. Join NCWLIFE channel for live coverage of the Top 10 speeches and Top 10 announcement on Tuesday from the Numerica Performing Arts Center. Coverage is brought to you in part by our Platinum supporter, Alpine Air Heating and Cooling, as well as Coldwell Banker Cascade Real Estate. It all begins Tuesday at 1 o'clock here on your official television home of the Washington State Apple Blossom Festival, NCWLIFE channel.
Raising a family may have seemed overwhelming to your parents, but they weren't. Coach, teacher, life guide, caregiver. Family takes care of family. And as the circle of life continues, you now are their caregiver. It may seem overwhelming, but we're here to help you find the support services necessary so you can provide quality care to your elders.
Call Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington at 1-800-572-4459.
The Washington Department of Transportation began work on Chumstick Highway today with one-lane traffic expected through Wednesday. Chumstick Highway, which is a county road, has been serving as a detour route to and from Stevens Pass due to the continued closure of Tumwater Canyon. WashDOT says the highway has experienced some stress. The agency is doing excavation and prep work today and tomorrow, and then paving 9 sections of roadway on Wednesday. The lane closure will be in effect from milepost 12 to milepost 10 with flagger-controlled traffic. The DOT is asking travelers to avoid Highway 2 for cross-state travel and says alternate routes like I-90, Blewett Pass, and Highway 28 through Quincy remain better options. The Chelan County Sheriff's Office is giving the community advance notice of planned active shooting training exercises in the Leavenworth area this month. Throughout January, the Sheriff's Office says residents and visitors may see a large law enforcement presence in the area. The training will include marked and unmarked vehicles, equipment, and personnel. The exercises allow agencies to practice coordinated responses and communication needed during high-risk incidents. The Sheriff's Office said the realistic trainings are critical to community safety and are not cause for alarm. A federal judge in Seattle has blocked the Trump administration from enforcing an executive order that would require all ballots to be received by Election Day and proof of citizenship to vote. The order warned that states that did not comply would risk losing federal funding. Washington State and Oregon sued the Trump administration in April, along with 19 other Democratic states, which filed their own lawsuit. Both Washington and Oregon are vote-by-mail states, which accept ballots as long as they are postmarked by Election Day. Judge John H. Chun ruled on Friday that the president does not have authority to order the changes in local election laws. You never know when you might need a fire hose, but it pays to be prepared. The Wenatchee Valley Fire Department has about 6,000 feet of hose that's past its expiration date for a fire agency's use, but has no leaks and still could be of value to someone. So, just as you might do, the department has put the used hose up for sale on Craigslist. It comes in 120 sections that are 50 feet long, and each section is available for just $25. A discount could be negotiated for a buyer who wants all 120 sections. To answer the Craigslist ad, you can scan the QR code you see on your screen. The hose can be inspected by appointment at the Malaga Fire Station. Coming up next in tonight's feature story, we will get to know new Chelan County Coroner Earl Crow and the steps involved when the coroner becomes involved in a case. Expect some patchy morning fog with afternoon sunshine and mild temperatures right through the weekend. I'll have your local weather details coming up, followed by Eric Granstrom with all the day's sports action as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues after these messages.
Your favorite local channel is now available for free on your smart TV and connected streaming devices. Watch live programming and catch up with the latest shows on demand. See the local stories that matter to you. NCWLIFE, now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
I'm Jen Mueller. Watch for my show, I Cook, You Measure on NCWLIFE. It's part cooking instruction, part entertainment, and all about connecting over food and wine with your favorite Northwest athletes.
Watch I Cook, You Measure with Jen Mueller Mondays at 1, Wednesdays at 2, Fridays at 11 a.m., and Saturday and Sundays at 10:30 p.m. right here on the NCWLIFE channel.
Wayne Harris was the elected coroner for Chelan County for nearly 20 years, and now his longtime chief deputy has that job. Earl Crow joined the coroner's office in 2013, helping to manage the hundreds of death investigations that come to light each year. In tonight's feature story, he joined NCWLIFE's Jefferson Robbins to share his background and shine a light on the steps involved when the coroner becomes involved in a case.
As a young child, I wanted to be a police officer, and ended up going into the Navy for 8 years, active duty, and learned that sights and smells don't bother me. Right? We've seen several incidents as fires and such on ship, and just working through my career, getting my degree in criminal justice and crime scene mapping and stuff, we ended up in Ohio from the Pacific Northwest. And I was working actually as a child support enforcement officer when a coroner's investigator called me one day about a case they had that somebody died, and I just happened to be working enforcement on the same case. And through that conversation, he said, "I don't know what your background is, but your personality-wise, I think you'd be a good fit. You should call the director," and that's how it started.
Interesting. And you were working in Ohio at that time, right?
Yep, in Franklin County, so Columbus. Yep.
So what are the steps of a death investigation? When your pager or your phone goes off, what needs to happen to trigger the coroner's involvement?
So our first call is usually from Rivercom, unless the death happens in the hospital, then it'll be from a nurse. And we just go through our standard set of questions, and we're looking for, is there something suspicious, something out of the ordinary? Could it be a blatant homicide, suicide, accident? And we'll respond to all those cases. And then we'll have cases in the hospital where it may be natural, but their hospital staff has a concern, so we'll review those as well and go to the hospital. And then, we do our whole death investigation. First, it's taking notes, photographs, meeting with first responders. If there's family present in a scene, we'll chat with them for a minute. We'll go into the scene, do what we do as far as looking at the decedent, trying to come up with some immediate answers, and then go from there. Decide whether we're just going to do an external exam or toxicology, or have to order an autopsy.
Now, autopsies is a category that I wanted to talk about. People think of the coroner's office as the site and center for autopsy if a death investigation calls for it. But that's not something that you as coroner specifically would do personally.
No, it has to be a forensic pathologist. However, my background, coming from Ohio, we were cross-trained. So not only did I go to scenes and do the forensic investigations, I also assisted in autopsies. So I probably assisted in over 5,000 cases as far as working with the doctor.
How many cases do you think, Earl, the Chelan County Coroner's Office investigates in a given year?
So in 2024, we had 628 total cases that we either went to the scene or we did file reviews, or that the health department system referred to us because of trigger words. For example, if a doctor put on a death certificate, cerebrovascular accident, well, that's a stroke, but the word accident triggers that to review to the coroner's office to make sure everything was filled out correctly. This year, we are slightly over that. I think we're at 640 for 2025. When I first started, we had roughly 400 cases.
And you started about 12 years ago as chief deputy for the coroner.
Yeah, next month will be 13 years.
So the rate or the number of cases that you're dealing with on a given basis has gone up over that time?
Yes.
What do you attribute that to?
Well, I just think that we have more population, and what people don't realize for Chelan County is that we have 2 major hospitals. So when somebody passes away, it's actually the county of death where the coroner takes over, not the county where the incident started. So if there's a car accident in Douglas County where they're transported to Central Campus and then pass away, it's our office that would actually handle the death. And we get more and more visitors from the west side or from out of state that'll come hiking, mountain climbing. So we handle all those incidents where somebody has an accident and passes away.
Coroner Harris spoke pretty frankly about the rise in deaths related to overdose, specifically fentanyl. That's something you've had to deal with, I'm assuming, as well.
Yeah, so when we first started tracking that 3 or 4 years ago, we had 9, and then all of a sudden it went up 300% for us to 30, 32, 37. In November, we were right on track with the same number, but in December, we did not have any fentanyl overdoses. And then last year, in that same 31-day period, we had 10.
Time now to take a look at your North Central Washington weather forecast. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Weather-wise, not too bad. Some clouds and temperatures in the 30s. Today we jumped into the 40s, and we did see that sunshine as we take a look outside our weather window from this afternoon. Also what we're seeing, an inversion where some low clouds are settling into the Wenatchee Valley, and that will be our situation as we move through at least the first and middle part of this week. We will see dry conditions and light winds because of a large area of high pressure. I'll show it to you in a second, but that will create areas of valley fog. We could also see mountain sunshine above that, and then we're hoping that it'll clear out. We'll see some sun, temperatures above normal for us, and if we do see sun, we are going to be well above normal for Tuesday and then later in the week. We'll see what this inversion does for our temperatures. Today, highs, beautiful, 45 degrees unofficially. 33 is where we should be for this time of year, and our record high, 53 degrees, set in 1999. 32 this morning, once again a warm morning. 24 is our normal overnight low, and our record low just 2 years ago. Do you remember that? 7 below zero, and that was set in 2024. Sunrise 7:45, and the sun set this afternoon at 4:34. All right, Tuesday weather, at least your temperatures, and we will see a nice warm up. But remember, this all depends on whether the inversion lifts in the morning and early afternoon hours. But here they go. It's 49 for Moses Lake and Ephrata, 48 in Quincy, also Wenatchee, 47 for Ellensburg, Entiat, and Chelan, and 47 as well for Kashmir. Once again, that is if those clouds lift in the afternoon. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies. Here's our 3 areas of high pressure in our ridge up and over the Pacific Northwest, but it's a dirty ridge. That means clouds are allowed to move through it, and with no wind, that's why we might see that inversion stick around for Tuesday. High clouds out there, and that could be those inversion clouds for Tuesday. Warmer though, we're hoping anyway, with high temperatures into the upper 40s, which will be about 15 degrees warmer than we should be. For Wednesday, our area of high pressure moves north, and that'll drag some northern air our way, so we will see some cool down on Wednesday. Still above normal with highs right about 40 degrees for midweek Wednesday. By Thursday, high clouds will move through. Not a whole lot to speak of on Thursday. We will continue our very quiet weather pattern with high temperatures around 40 degrees. And then as we get you into the weekend on Friday, really not a lot of change. High pressure still up in the Gulf of Alaska and just off the British Columbia coast. That'll keep us very stable as we move into Friday. Temperatures will warm up just a little bit, back into those mid-40s on Friday. And then as we kick off our weekend on Saturday, boy, just beautiful with high pressure to our southeast. That will once again bring some warmer weather our way with Saturday high temperatures in the mid-40s. Get out and enjoy yourselves this weekend if you have the chance. By Sunday, yeah, that high pressure is still anchored anchored off the Washington-Oregon coast. It will be sunny on Sunday with high temperatures continuing on the mild side. Temperatures in the mid-40s. All right, your 7-day forecast now, and it's brought to you by Colonial Vista Senior Living in Wenatchee, where comfort, care, and community come together. 40 degrees. Can you believe that? Our overnight low tonight with those clouds out there. We're hoping the clouds lift tomorrow, and if they do, we could see highs around 48 degrees. A little cooler on Wednesday with highs about 10 degrees cooler at 39, and then we're back to the nice weather Thursday and Friday. 40 for Thursday, 44 and sunshine for Friday, and then lots of sunshine for this upcoming weekend with high temperatures in the mid-40s. And that's a look at your North Central Washington weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
Your favorite local channel is now available for free on your smart TV and connected streaming devices. Watch live programming and catch up with the latest shows on demand. See the local stories that matter to you. NCWLIFE, now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
Prep girls basketball on Friday night. Giselle Hoven led Eastmont with 16 points as the Wildcats held off Moses Lake 53-38. Grant Olson had the call on the NCWLIFE channel.
7-point Eastmont lead. Char with it. Top of the key to Wiltbank. She's going to drive in. Took a few steps now to Bischoff. Back out Wiltbank on the wing. McGinnis on her. Baseline, it's Raymond. Nice steal by McGinnis as she came in from behind. Now she's going to need some help. She finds Hoven across half court. Hoven cross court. Here's Lehman. Three-pointer no good. Irwin with it. Back up and in. Kind of frustrating Moses Lake a little bit. And there's another turnover on the Mavericks. Down court. Nice pass by Johnson. There's Lehman. It's good. Johnson will just dribble the clock out. And that will do it for this one. Our final score here at Eastmont High School is Eastmont 53 and Moses Lake 38.
And other girls' scores from Friday. Eisenhower beat Wenatchee 41-23. Toppin is shut down to Fred at 58-13. Chelan earned a forfeit win over Manson. Omak topped Tonasket 53-16. Brewster beat Liberty Bell 59-41. Wilson Creek edged Oroville by 3. Waterville-Mansfield topped Entiat, and it was Colville over Okanagan 53-36. Saturday, Davis disposed of Eastmont 85-10. West Valley beat Moses Lake 63-31. Prosser popped Quincy 87-16. Brewster beat Lakeside 58-52. Waterville-Mansfield down Okanagan 48-33. Manson beat Silk Lake 41-35. Eastmont boys erased a double-digit deficit and tied Moses Lake in the fourth quarter, but the Mavericks recovered, went on for an 82-73 win. Grant Olson had the call as Brady J led Moses Lake with 31 points.
1-8 against 8-2 here tonight. Under the basket, Micah Green puts up the shot. Good. Had one in the first quarter and now one in the fourth quarter. And a technical foul has been called on Micah Green. First one good. Second one on the way, also good. And now it's Walker with it to Wiltbank. Back to Brady J, working on Cooper West. Good defense by West. Baseline jumper, though, good by Brady J. 26 now in the ball game. Here's Jackson Kenyon to the basket, good. Wiltbank inbounds. Jay working on Cooper West. Jay shoots it, no good. Gets his own rebound. Back up with it. Gets that one to go, and he'll get a free throw. Llewellyn goes right side to McGinnis. Give and go. Back to Kenyon under the basket. He's trapped there. Left open is Babst on the baseline. Three is good. Lucas Babst with a big three cuts that lead to 2. Stays a 3-point lead. Here's Walker. Free throw line. Give and go. Barney under the basket. It's good, and he's fouled. Jay with it on the dribble. Tough shot from about 6 feet. Good. And that will do it as Wiltbank just dribbles out the clock. Our final score from Eastmont High School tonight, Moses Lake 82 and the Eastmont Wildcats 73.
Lucas Bapp led Eastmont with 20 points in the loss. And other Prep boys play on Friday night. Ike overcame Wenatchee 78-64. Toppenish edged Ephrata by 2. Chelan clobbered Manson. Tonasket topped Omak. Okanagan beat Colville. Liberty Bell beat Brewster. Oroville got by Wilson Creek. Eniet topped Waterville Mansfield 51-38. Eastmont gave Davis fit Saturday before falling to the Pirates 67-62. The final. West Valley cruised by Moses Lake 90-62. Prosser edged Quincy. Liberty Bell topped Toledo. It was Lakeside downing Brewster. Elmira Cooley Heartline beat Okanagan. Manson stopped Soap Lake 76-34. It was Oroville over Garden City Academy 51-38. Reflecting on the NCW Classic held at the college in Town Toyota Center over the weekend, Tulalip Heritage edged Lake Roosevelt on Friday night. DeSales caught Cascade. Things moved to the Town Toyota Center on Saturday. Cashmere beat Omak. Yakima Valley swept WVC's teams, with the men winning 84-77 and the women taking the win 69-64. Tulalip beat DeSales Saturday night 65-63, and Chelan wound up the NCW Classic with an 82-46 win over Lake Roosevelt. Now, coming up this week here on the NCW Life channel, tune in to Facebook Thursday night for a stream of Big Nine Wrestling. Wenatchee's hosting Moses Lake. Girls start at 6. The boys follow at 7. I'll be Matt Side with your play-by-play. Then on Saturday, it's a doubleheader in basketball. Wenatchee and Eastmont at Eastmont High School. Girls at 4:30, boys at 6. Grant Olson with a play-by-play. Both games live on TV and the stream. Wenatchee Wild had a rough weekend of Western Hockey League play. The Moose Jaw Warriors beat Wenatchee in the Town Toyota Center on Friday night 4-2. Wild fell at Vancouver Saturday 2-1. Wenatchee returned home Sunday to salvage the weekend with a 3-2 shootout win. Austin Andrade had the call on the Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network.
He steps off in a change for the Wild. Down to one man on the Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning power play. 5-on-4. Coming out of the box is Braden Regal. Across for Benson. Onto the stick of Sherbina. He scores! Close to being ruled for his 100th point in his Western Hockey League career last night. Shot on Shorney. Caught in front of the net, down on top of it like a starfish is Tobias Tversnik, and they break it down the right wing. Wedman looking for an angle against 2 with back checker nearby. Played it off the end boards with a change behind him. Turn around, toss, he scores! Got it all the way around the net, faces, fires, into the top corner, Wild on top 2-0. Marson Wild penalty box comes Josh Toll. Marson and Marson building this Wild team, one player at a time. Under 12 to go, second period. And the Wenatchee Wild lead it to 1. Tittleback, chance from low in the right circle. He throws it home and beats Tobias Tversnik and cuts the lead to 1. Vancouver answering a moment ago with Adam Tittleback. Tittleback with it left circle. He scores to tie it. He went sharp angle near side on the first one. He goes to the left face-off circle just off the dot and finds a target at the back of the net to tie it at 12:26 of the second. Kraft, a left-handed shooter out of Moorhead, Minnesota. Brings it right wing, quickly, in, top shelf, he scores! Domenichelli, 5 goals on the season. A right-handed shooter, first one we've seen in this contest. Starts toward the net, stays inside the dots, wrist shot, save, Wild win in the shootout, drive home safely.
Wenatchee's off until Friday when they'll host Portland at 7 o'clock. Mr. Droughty will come in tomorrow morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for a recap on a busy trade deadline, the weekend, also the games coming up this week right here on the NCW Life channel. Let's look at sports news. I'm Eric Granstrom. Have a happy Monday.
And that will do it for this Monday edition of the NCW Life Evening News. Remember, if you see news happening, let us know. Email your news tips to news@ncwlife.com or just give us a call at 888-6295. Our channel is also available on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks so much for being with us and have a great night.
It's time to begin the search for the 2026 Apple Blossom Royal Court. Join NCWLIFE channel for live coverage of the top 10 speeches and top 10 announcement on Tuesday from the Numerica Performing Arts Center. Coverage is brought to you in part by our Platinum supporter, Alpine Air Heating and Cooling, as well as Coldwell Banker Cascade Real Estate. It all begins Tuesday at 1 o'clock here on your official television home of the Washington State Apple Blossom Festival, NCWLIFE channel.